Hello. My name is Callista, and welcome back to When the Night Comes. In the last episode, it was finally time. It is finally time to face down Harry, to put Aya out of her misery, and to bring an end to this dark time in Lunaris's history. I can feel eyes upon me, watching, waiting. Though they are kind eyes, the watchful gaze of my friends and allies, tucked safely away in the thick forest. No matter how much I insisted I'd be fine alone, the stubborn bastards wouldn't take no for an answer. I stand and I wait. I think back to my brief time with James, and all I can hope is that I make him proud tonight. Then, footsteps. A rhythmic crunch, crunch, crunch. And there he stands, bathed in darkness, his sharp gauntlet resting proudly atop the pommel of his sword. He smiles.
I knew you would change your mind.
Oh, really? Oh, really, mate? I don't think Camille can act. Admittedly, I haven't. Like, that's not acting. We don't want to rush this. I think Camille is kind of in predator mode. She's just watching him, waiting for him to make his move. I clench my jaw, willing myself to remain calm, to let him think I've succumbed to his desires in the hope that he might reveal a weakness.
Your silence speaks volumes. The power that I offer is one of great esteem, something people will envy you for, will idolize.
No, this man is crazy. To become a monster. He smiles, stopping his pacing, and he presses a palm to his chest.
I swear that no night will be traversed in fear, that morning will be a promise and not a hope. I swear I shall lay down my life in the cause of my duty to protect the vulnerable from the creatures of this realm and any beyond it. Until my final breath, I pledge myself to you, body, mind, and soul.
The pledge. The oath that we take before consuming the poison they fed us. The words sound so empty to me now. Now that I know what's become of this order. Did you take that oath, Harry? He drops his hand back to his weapon and he laughs.
You're right. I am no hunter. I was never worthy, but I have loved a hunter, and I have seen the things they must endure.
I almost want to scoff at him, to laugh in the face of his supposed understanding. He may have loved a hunter, but he killed him too. He surveys me for a second, eyes narrowed, and then he inclines his head. Wait, what? Do you intend to what? Okay, I guess that makes sense. Do you intend to what? Kill me? Commit murder?
Killing me would be against your precious code, wouldn't it?
I mean, Camille, at this point, I think she serves the people, and you are putting the people in harm's way. There is one monster here, at least that we can see, and that would be you, my dear.
Or are you going to get your dear Augustus to do it for you? Do you really think that their loyalty, if tested, would be to you? Or to the father figure they always wished for?
I freeze at the mention of August. Fingers tight around my weapon, my knuckles bleeding white. Harry notices, and he's pleased with himself. He pouts at me, feigning innocence when he sees the sour look I can't help but offer him. You're as good as dead to them anyway, after all you've done. Pointedly, he chooses to ignore that, instead reaching into his coat and producing a vial. It feels eerily familiar, and the sight of dark, viscous liquid encased in delicate glass makes me feel sick. He holds it high, gazing at it with unabashed fondness, shamelessly proud of his nefarious creation.
To think you would willingly deny such an honor. I'd give anything to be able to take it.
The moonlight hits the glass, the liquid more black than the red I remember, and my stomach churns. It would kill you. He sighs.
It would, wouldn't it?
For a brief moment, I think he might greedily swallow it down, but instead he tucks it safely back inside his coat, patting the fabric tenderly. Since you won't see reason, let's just get this over with, shall we? Final chance. Join me. I don't need to hesitate in my response. Never. Calmly, he smiles, flexing his gauntlet. Hello, Aya. A wounded noise rings out around us. Something broken and terrible enough to make me want to cover my ears.
A shame. You would have been magnificent.
The sound his sword makes as he draws it from its sheath is cutting, and the impressive weapon glows to life, emanating a bright, golden light. Mental reminder to ask August if they knew about that little surprise. He's fast. Faster than I expected, and now I finally get to see the infamous prowess of Harold Addington III up close. I parry his heavy blows with relative ease, trained to anticipate every move things far more cunning than him might make. I wonder if he's underestimated me. I've butchered this sentence, let me say that again. I wonder if he's underestimated me, like all enforcers do of their hunters. Then, out of the corner of my eyes, I see her. Aya. Branches twist and snap against the weight of her misshapen frame as she pushes through the brush, her maw wide and vicious, teeth snapping as she struggles forward. Harry could catch me off guard, could see my momentary distraction as the perfect opportunity to strike me down, but he stops, staring me down with wild eyes.
Isn't she beautiful?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all of that, but no, this is terrible. I feel drawn to her, an almost undeniable connection, but something is distinctly wrong. I can feel the lingering threads of her humanity, of the hunter within her, and though it sings to me like a prayer, it leaves me feeling sick. There's something about seeing it, about seeing her, that makes my blood turn cold in my veins. I try to remain unaffected, but confusion and anger twist in my gut. She's a monster. Harry narrows his eyes at me, fingers tight around the hilt of his sword. Technically, yes, but she's so much more than that.
She evolved far beyond the other subjects, and she's outlived them too. Though I assume Azazel would have lived as long had you not killed him.
With that, he lunges forward, and we begin our dance once again. I'm fighting a man I do not want to kill, no matter the crimes he's committed. For I am not the monster he wants me to be. I need to subdue him, and fast, because in my peripheral I can see Aya lurking. and I know that Harry doesn't have any semblance of control over her. She could turn on either of us at any moment. Then, when Aya does set her crimson eyes upon Harry and me, I see daggers glint in the moonlight. Piper? Piper's daggers. She tears from the forest with a battle cry, heading straight for the misshapen creature. She meets each of her lazy attacks with unbidden power, and I try not to let myself become distracted by them, knowing Piper can handle it. Aya isn't one of us, not anymore. The hunter and human within her long dead. All that remains is a husk. All thanks to the man who stands so boldly before me.
So, you did bring your friends. I knew you wouldn't face me alone.
Because I'm not stupid. I scoff, wiping sweat from my brow with the back of my hand. I see now that you long for us to fight alone because you want us to be disposable and forgettable. You called me here to turn me into a monster, but I made Lunaris my home. That must really piss you off. With clenched teeth and a growl, Harry's carefully crafted composure withers and dies as he hurls forward. He lunges, the tip of his blade pointed towards my chest. I shift to parry his attack. Within that second, however, his body pivots, and I see the aim in his misdirection. Quick thinking on his part, but I must be quicker. Sharp steel hums at the clash of my weapon against his own, and I can feel the oppressive weight of his desperation trying to blow me down. As soon as I force him back, he strikes at me again. His attacks seem to be without pattern, like a random, unguided flurry, but in those eyes I see a man with deadly calculation. Each blow gives means to take a tendon, a weak point, a place not always vital, but just enough to keep me from fighting back. Harry believes us all to be lesser, and therein lies his hubris, his weakness. I can see his confidence soar with every blow that barely finds its intended spot, and he seeks to overwhelm me. I'll continue to enjoy letting him think he can. I cast Piper a glance when I can. The cacophony of battle all around us numbs my ears, but I can still hear her, see her, and feel the thrum of angry adrenaline coursing through her. It's not unlike my own, and like her, I trust my instincts to guide me. Purposefully, I let my stride waver, become almost haggard, fearful even. I adopt a stance that tries to let the predator think he's weakening his prey, and Harry catches the bait like a moth to a flame. He smirks, another blow.
Come now, Hunter. You made for such a good show before, don't falter now.
Oh, buddy. Buddy, am I faltering? Am I really? Is that what you think?
I thought you better than this. How disappointing.
I force him back again. And though I make him believe he has the upper hand, Harry is a force to be reckoned with. He mimics the same attempt he made at the beginning, sword to chest, but this time with intent. He doesn't change his direction, and there's a renewed force behind it. The blow rattles my bones when the attack connects with my weapon, and his sword reverberates with the magic enchanted into its steel, Harry using the pressure to force me down. His concentration, all pitted against my weapon-wielding side, allows me an opening. Though Harry may be strong, he doesn't account for me being able to hold him back with one arm. Ooh! Clever, Camille, very clever. My free hand reaches for my concealed dagger, the one given to us by the Academy during initiation, and I seek to implant it in his side. To my surprise, Harry releases one hand from the hilt of his sword, stopping the dagger before it can meet a vulnerable point between his ribs. God damn. He always seems to be one step ahead. He grimaces in pain when the dagger's edge... I'm getting too into this and it's making me tongue-tied. He grimaces in pain when the dagger's edge slides against his palm. Deep crimson slick on silver, and yet he still grips it with fervour. His body trembles, but he grins at me despite it all. Close. Stars flicker behind my eyes when Harry headbutts me. A sickening crack, and I stumble away from him, struggling to regain my footing in the dizzying haze. I barely have time to register his next attack, and the downward swing of his sword knocks my weapon from my hand. He connects a quick kick to my sternum, and I fall to the dirt. I see the man I'm supposed to call my leader giving himself a moment to relish his triumph. He observes the dagger that bloodied his hands and huffs a tired laugh.
It would have been ironic if I was the one to give this to you. I suppose this will have to do.
He discards it with a shrug and walks towards me. He truly means to kill me. With renewed confidence, he swings his sword with a flourish. A fluid movement that shows his weapon is just another part of him, and now it rushes for me. I breathe deep and try to regain lucidity, but it won't be enough. Just as his blade is about to meet me, it's repelled with a brilliant flash. Oh, August. August, my hero! That haze, the smell and that aura that fills my senses, and I know exactly who it is.
Augustus!
Ah, it's too late for that now, bitch! Harry strides backwards as August stalks forwards, cracks of magic snapping at him with palpable intensity. He forces back the attacks with the enchantment upon his blade, but it can't stop the overbearing force that shocks his body each time they use their power on him. I watch August gracefully turn their pain into fury, magic licking across their skin as they weave spell after powerful spell to combat each of his would-be blows while I regain my footing. Their body shakes with lingering static as they finally relax. Eyes aglow in the darkness. Harry spits blood, finally faltering to the onslaught, and his body gives way, falling to his knees. August then appears at my side, frantically scanning me for any injuries, but I wave them off, adrenaline still coursing violently through my veins. I'm fine. You're sure? I nod, turning my attention to Harry. Ooh. Look at you. Look at you now. Ooh. This is very satisfying. He kneels in the dirt, his dusty black coat pooling around him, his right hand red with blood. His breathing is laboured, but I know we didn't harm him enough for there to be any immediate threat to his life. The blood that covers him is mostly not his own, but Aya's. I glance over at the heap of blood and bones that was once our fellow hunter. Piper kneels beside her, and Ezra holds her tightly as Finn watches in silent support. I see Omen and Alcar emerge from the forest, and in the tree line, a litany of glowing red eyes, the clan. The pain and suffering in this clearing alone are enough to make me furious, enough to warrant this man's death, and yet... He looks up at me with those piercing blue eyes.
Just do it!
August rests their hand upon my arm, but I don't want to meet their gaze, afraid of what I might find. Camille. I stare down at him, at my Lieutenant General, and I remember the taste of it. The vial cold in my palm. An encouraging smile from the enforcer who handed it to me. A child so eager to please and feel loved after being taken from their family. Magic and the blood of others. Foreign things coursing through my body, seeping and sinking deep into my bones like an incurable infection. I said my vows and took my oath, and I became theirs. I have been faithful to their cause, all of us have, and this is where it ends. This is where I break it. No matter how long I live, there is one sight, one moment that I could never erase from my mind. Harold Addington on his knees, covered in blood, asking me, no, begging me to end it all. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure if that was the end of the chapter, and as I've mentioned before, I really don't like to mix the chapters. My whole body trembles with the effort of my steps as I follow August into the depths of the dungeons. I'm exhausted, beaten and bruised at the hand of the person who dragged me into this mess, the man who vowed to protect me, to protect us all. August and I do not speak. In fact, I don't think I've spoken since the enforcers burst into that clearing and grabbed their leader by his shoulders, yanking him away from my weapon. Would I have finished him had he asked again, if I had the chance? I suppose I'll never know, but the anger and hurt that I feel are stifling, almost suffocating. August pauses before me, their long fingers curled around the bars of the door that separates us from the line of cells, and they take a deep, shuddering breath. I'm almost scared to look at them because I've seen them cry enough for one lifetime. When they finally do speak, their voice is quiet and strained.
I cannot promise I'll be of much use.
Oh, sweetheart, you have already done so much. Like, it's all good, chicken. It really is. It's okay, August. I step forward, my hand hovering at the base of their spine, almost scared to touch. They turn their heads slowly, as if they could sense the promise of the warmth of my palm.
You've been through so much. I'll try my best. For you.
I adore August. I simply adore them. I press my hand against their back, feeling their warmth through their clothing. We'll get through it. We've been through worse, right? They scoff and nod, drawing in a serrated breath and letting it out slowly. Then they push, iron scraping across the uneven stone as we enter. Every enforcer that... I read that in a really weird way, I do apologise. Every enforcer that lines the seemingly never-ending corridor stands to attention when they see August. And it's now that I realise that with Harry chained in a cell, that they are the most senior officer in Lunaris. That thought calms me somewhat. To know that amongst all this chaos that we are all now in the hands of one of the people I trust the most. Capable hands. Even if it is temporary. The loud click of their shoes resumes as they stride past the dungeon guards with purpose, but their eyes are still down, not a trace of the usual authoritative way that they hold themselves. I follow dutifully, a slight limp to my step, every muscle and bone in my body protesting as I move. I can feel the pull of dried blood upon my skin, not entirely sure if it's his or mine, but I know that he got more than a few hits in on me. I should probably see Ezra soon. August approaches the head guard that is stationed opposite Harry's cell. Has he been any trouble? No, General Willenheim. I mean, Lieutenant. However, he has been talking to himself. Oh. August nods at her, turning to face me and running a hand over their face, exasperated.
Let us just get this over with.
August's steps falter as they draw near to the final cell, where the man that they once viewed as something akin to a father is contained. I can hear him whispering, his voice soft and lacking the venom that it was steeped with just hours ago. I swear I hear him utter James's name. August closes their eyes, dropping their chin to their chest. They must have heard it too. I wonder if his fallen husband is really with him, or if he's finally lost his mind. Again, August takes a deep breath and looks at me. I nod, stepping closer to show my support is unwavering and that I'm here, and we approach the bars together. Harry falls silent. He's stripped of his weapon and his enforcer attire, left in nothing but muddy trousers and a blood-stained shirt. Somehow he still manages to look refined, even through the bruises and cuts that litter his handsome face. He sits with his back against the wall, his knees drawn tight to his chest, arms casually slung over them. The golden glint of his wedding ring catches my eye as he twists it around his finger, the sight making my chest hurt even after all that he's done. His cheeks are ruddy, the dirt and blood that is caked upon his skin streaked with tear tracks, now dried.
I am glad that it will be you, Augustus.
August clears their throat, curling their hands into fists.
What makes you think that I will show you mercy?
Harry stands, the movement clearly a great effort for him. He grimaces as he straightens up, watching us watch him as he approaches the bars, and his demeanour shifts into something more familiar, something hardened. You were a worthy opponent, Camille. I haven't hurt like this in decades. I ignore him, giving August the floor.
I will ask again. What makes you think that I will show you even a sliver of mercy after all that you've done?
Harry curls his fingers around the bars, his face half illuminated by dull candlelight, half bathed in shadows. He looks older than I remember, tired, defeated. He studies August, his eyes flickering over their features.
Because you are no murderer.
August's knuckles bleed white where they continue to ball their hands, and it would appear that they don't have a response for him. I step forward, as close as I can without the worry that Harry might try something stupid that would result in him receiving a broken arm. And what about me? Am I a murderer? Harry smiles smugly.
If you were, we wouldn't be standing here having this conversation, would we? You had your chance, you hesitated. Hunters do not hesitate.
Just because you're a monster doesn't mean I am. He sighs, leaning forward and pressing his face between the bars.
Oh, but what a wonderful monster you would have made. Such a shame that you were so unwilling to even listen to the offer that I could have made you.
I still don't understand what you hope to achieve. After all of your failures, the lack of control you had over those beasts. Harry chuckles, pouting.
Augustus, do not speak ill of your subordinates.
Ooh! Oh shit, what a line!
Be quiet.
Magic skitters across their skin for the briefest moment, a flash of indigo that lights up the dark space that surrounds us. Harry doesn't flinch, doesn't so much as blink.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to speak of them as if they were anything other than disposable to you.
August turns to me, their expression softening.
The decision is yours. He doesn't deserve to have me show him any mercy. Therefore, his fate is in your hands.
They pause, and then they walk away from him, leaning against the wall that separates his cell and the next. They're out of his sight, but I can see them clear as day. My heart pounds against my ribcage, protesting the choice August has just laid into my palms. But I will take this burden from them because I love them. Because I do not want to see them hurt, no matter the choice, because every single one will sting. I nod at them. Excuse you? I nod at them, and Harry's smile fades. The one that I called here to serve as my greatest creation is the one who finally decides my fate. Beautiful, I suppose. It's all coming full circle. I watch the bob of his throat as he swallows, his eyes fixed upon me and only me. Condemn him to life imprisonment. Grant him a trial. Ooh. I find it interesting that we don't have the option to execute him. Then again, Camille said she's not the monster that he is. So maybe she wouldn't even consider that. I'm inclined towards granting him a trial because here's the thing. If we just condemn him to life in prison, then we're kind of just hushing it up. Everything he's done will just be quietly swept under the rug. If we grant him a trial, yeah, it'll probably be the trial of the century, and yes, the enforcers will look bad, but so much of this has happened because they were so secretive. I think we need to start bringing things out to the light. I think about the oaths I've taken, about fairness and my promise to protect people and be good. Whatever that means. The problem is that everyone has different definitions of what doing the right thing is. Harry has convinced himself that he has done no wrong, that he's helping. For the greater good. Who am I to judge what happens to Harry? I'll see that you're offered a trial. August remains silent beside me, but Harry looks at me as though he's almost disappointed. Is that it? I gather that you wanted me to kill you, if what you said back in the clearing is anything to go by. I will not give you what you wish for. Instead, you'll answer for your crimes and will weed out every single enforcer that dared to follow you. I turn away from him, readying myself to walk out of these dungeons. We all have to live with the consequences of your actions. So shall you. I hope they show you no mercy. As I begin to move away, I hear a loud bang, fists hitting metal, then maniacal laughter. A sound that follows me long after I push open the exit door and feel cold air upon my face. Again, I can't tell where this episode is ending. Bear with me. It seems that this is still chapter 9. I'm inclined to just finish off this chapter. I find August in their office, standing before the window that overlooks Lunaris. The town is peaceful at this hour, the townsfolk tucked safely in their beds. I carefully slide my hand into theirs, lacing our fingers together. Can we not talk about it? About him? Just for tonight? I smile, squeezing their hand. I was going to say, unfortunately, we will have to talk about him at some point, Lieutenant. August grimaces, but I see a smile curling at the corner of their lips.
Temporary, Lieutenant. Don't get too excited. When the other higher-ups arrive to assess the situation, I may very well be out of a job entirely.
That would be a crime in itself. You've done more for Lunaris than Harry ever did. You will do more. They hum quietly before turning to face me, taking my other hand in theirs. Are you scared for what's to come? August contemplates that for a moment, albeit a brief one. Then they shake their head and smile. It's bright, tired, but bright.
I've been scared for so long. Ever since I left home, and even before that. Scared that I'd be teaching horribly pompous rich witches in the academy and listening to my parents tell me that I'm mediocre. Scared that Lunaris would swallow itself whole before I could do anything to stop it. And then you came along and changed everything.
August, I
wish I knew from the first moment I saw you how irrevocably you would change my life. I find it so hard to be scared with the person who saved Lunaris standing by my side. The person who made me see that I am so much more than I thought I was. So, no, I'm not scared. I'm excited. Because no matter what happens, I have you.
If only you could see my face right now. Oh, this is so lovely. I find myself lost for words, just lost in August and the very new, very real promise of a future together. I've wandered Escria for so long, never knowing what path my position would take me down. I think back to that letter I found upon August's desk on that lazy morning not too long ago. And in you, I've finally found a home. Their eyes widen, their own words repeated back to them, causing a flush to creep across their cheeks, and then they smile.
Finally.
Yes! The moment that word has left their lips, I close the gap between us. Their hair is silky as it snarls about my fingertips, their skin warm, but it's the softness of their lips as they meet mine that ensures any and all coherent thoughts flee from my mind. We stand here and kiss for what feels like hours, but in reality is just mere moments. When we break apart, August is still smiling, as am I, and we just bask in each other's presence for a moment before... Well, before I start to feel a bit lightheaded, actually. August frowns, taking my face in their hands. You need to see Ezra. I'll have him called. How do you know I'm not all weak in the knees because of that kiss? The look they give me tells me that maybe it's not best to joke about my health right now. Ezra, yes, sorry. They press another quick kiss to the corner of my mouth before they head for the door. As their hands touch the handle, I call out to them. August. Yes. I love you. They exhale, offering me the brightest, most beautiful smile I think I've ever seen. I love you too. And then I'm left standing alone, before Lunaris, before my home, strangely excited for what the future holds. 3 months later. And there we go, that was the end of chapter 9, and we will bring things to a close right here. How are things in 3 months? What has happened to Lunaris? What's going on with Camille and August? Well, you'll have to find that out tomorrow, but until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Kallista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.